Hey guys. So now that we are getting into color a little bit, I want to just go over some things that you can consider when you're going about making your images and your designs. One thing that I'd like to show you is we've worked with duotones a little bit, right? I mean, if we recall from the first exercises, duotones and tritones are primarily used for print, right? I mean, it's to help you get a better range of value with a monochromatic image. But I'd like to go more into duotones and show you how they're being used in a more contemporary way. There's a lot of companies now that are really going after very similar aesthetics using duotones, and I'll just kind of show you some examples here. So we've seen things like this, like Spotify uses this technique a lot. So this right here is a duotone, and other companies like Apple. Here's one by Adidas. Using these. This one's a bit more monochromatic, but we can see we can get some really interesting color combinations, and the duotones can really make a difference as opposed to just your standard images. Here's Kanye. So we can see the colors, right? If you just pay attention to the color palettes that are being used, oftentimes with these duotones, more complementary colors here tend to work well together. The triads and split complementaries work well too. So yeah, I just want to show you quickly how to go about doing this. It's really simple, it's easy, and it's kind of a powerful way to really make your images pop. So here's our boy, Tom Haverford. And when we want to work with this technique, so we're not going to be going through the same method that we did to create the other duotones. Remember, when we're making a duotone for print, we have to come up to image, we have to come up and make it a grayscale first. Once we've made our black and white adjustments, then we go into grayscale, and then we go into duotone. But what I want to show you here is just a way that we can essentially use a duotone by using two different colors. One's for the dark and one for the lights, and the mids will be, somewhat of a combination in between. So the first thing we need to do is let's go ahead and unlock this, and this image is there for you to download in your resources and in the lessons tab, and you can work alongside me here to play around with this effect. So the first thing we need to do is we need to get a selection of our subject, and I'm just quickly using the magic wand tool here just to, I'm not going to get this perfectly, but okay, so let's say that's my selection, and I'm going to move that. Okay, so I have my selection, and what I need to do is, you can do this any number of ways, but what we need to do is we need to remove the background, and we need to create a new layer and fill that to white underneath this. So you could do this a couple of different ways. First thing I could do is I could just Command C and then Command V, so just copy and paste. So I have my cutout right here, and then I could just delete this layer and create a new layer, and I'm going to put it underneath that layer, and then I could just go to my paint bucket tool and fill this to white, right? So I have a blank layer right underneath. Now, you could do this, again, you could do it a couple of different ways. Hopefully by now you're starting to see that anything in Photoshop can be done multiple ways. You could also, since we were working with layers, you could just create a layer mask, which that will hide everything, but you would still want to make sure you have a layer underneath and still fill that to white, right? So however you want to do it, again, we can, the other way we could do it is, so right now I have this let's just say I had a really nice selection. You could just easily come up to select and then inverse, and that'll select everything except the figure. And then we could do the same thing. We could delete and then add in a new layer, make sure that's underneath, fill that to white. So however you want to do it, again, you should be practicing multiple ways of doing this. But let's go ahead. Let me get a little bit better of a selection, because I can see I'm kind of missing some stuff. So let me fix my selection here. Okay. Just gonna adjust this a little bit. So I'm not getting the table, I'm just getting him. Okay. Nope. Okay, that'll work for now. Oh, okay. So I'm going to just, I'm just going to copy and then paste. And then I'm going to delete this layer underneath. Get a new, get a new layer underneath and fill that to white. Okay, so once we've done that, now we are going to make sure we're back on top, make sure we're back on this layer here, and then we're just going to come down to the adjustment layers here, and we're going to add a gradient map. So pretty easy to do here. So this comes up all white because right now my colors are set for this, but let's click on our gradient editor here, and let's choose two colors now. So instead of black and white, how we were doing before with earlier gradients, I'm going to just pick, purple and then yellow. And you'll see that oftentimes these contrasting complementary colors can be really nice, and you can make some adjustments here and there and really tweak that. So that's just kind of the quick and dirty of using duotones there, right? So play around with this, and again, you can try these presets out as well too. Sometimes you get some interesting results. This one here is kind of a nice one with the primary colors, red, yellow, and blue. So this would technically be a tritone. We have 3 colors that we're using. And then you can also, anytime that you make an interesting duotone that you like, you can always save it and always have that preset available for you. So next, we're going to go into further duotone usage, and I'm going to show you some things we can do with text and layer masks and do a few cool things there.